Yabba dabba doo! This is Tuned In. I'm Josh the Fox Mills, and I review cartoons, no matter how new, no matter how old, no matter the cost. This week, I'm taking a look at one of the big ones from the Hanna-Barbera Animation Studios. That's right. It's time to meet the Hanna-Barbarians.
Ha! Hoo! Ha! Raggy!
Come back after the credits for my review of a Toon TV guide called The Second Greatest Cartoon of All Time, The Flintstones. Originally pitched as the Flagstones in 1960, the Flintstones hit primetime airwaves on ABC in September of that year. There, it ran for 6 seasons. It took place in a fictional Stone Age world and followed the titular family, the Flintstones. The Flintstones were a modern Stone Age family from the town of Bedrock, a place where stone and random animals made fine replacements for modern appliances and machines.
Cuckoo! Cuckoo! Boy, it's only 2 o'clock. I must have been cuckoo to take a job like this.
Yeah, that's a little weird, but not unheard of, as Fleischer Studios made 12 cartoons about cavemen doing modern things with primitive means. One could say the Flintstones ripped off these Stone Age cartoons. Joe Barbera had some trouble pitching this show to networks, and it took a while for it to be actually picked up. This is because the Flintstones was a first in animation history, a primetime animated sitcom. The Flintstones is a direct parody to the classic sitcom The Honeymooners, with the main characters being parallels to the Honeymooner characters. It was so close that Jackie Gleason threatened to sue Hanna-Barbera. The theme song is extremely iconic, but rather than risking another copyright strike, I just want to sing!
Stop that! You're not going into a song while I'm here.
Okay, fine, I won't sing. But I won't deadpan read the lyrics either. Everyone pretty much knows the theme song to the Flintstones. But interestingly enough, that was not the theme song to the Flintstones until just a little bit after the 3rd season began. Anyway, it is indeed time to meet the Flintstones. Fred is the family patriarch and primary breadwinner for the household. He's a simple man who's quick to anger when things go wrong. Fred works at Slate Construction, alongside his friend and neighbor Barney Rubble. Wilma is Fred's wife and the housekeeper. She is a no-nonsense woman who doesn't put up with any of her husband's schemes. Ultimately, she is a loving wife and mother, not to mention loaded, because she comes from a rich family. Pebbles is Fred and Wilma's daughter and is just adorable. As a baby, she really doesn't talk much. I felt they did a good job at adding plenty of character to her, despite not being a speaking role. Dino the dinosaur is the family dog and an affront to science. After all, humans and dinosaurs didn't exist at the same time. Right? Almost as important as the Flintstones are their neighbors, the Rubbles. As I mentioned before, Barney Rubble is Fred's best friend, and despite his dopey voice, he is the moral compass between the two, often telling Fred, "I don't know about this." Betty is Barney's wife and best friend to Wilma. She's often the first to laugh at something and has a very distinctive laugh. Finally, there is the Rubble's son, Bam Bam. He was adopted in the 4th season and is supernaturally strong. He was named for the only words he ever said. That does it for the main characters, but there are over 100 supporting characters all around Bedrock. Characters like Mr. Slate, the owner of the construction company that Fred and Barney work for. Arnold, the local paper boy, who Fred hates with a passion because he constantly outwits Fred. And the Great Gazoo. Oh yeah, that guy. The Great Gazoo is an alien who was exiled to Earth in the Stone Age for his crimes. He appeared in the final season and helped Fred and Barney out whether they wanted it or not. Talk about jumping the Sharkosaurus, am I right? Nice work killing the series there, dum-dum. The Great Gazoo helped build a theory about this series. The theory went on to say that the Jetsons and the Flintstones were happening simultaneously with a utopian sky world and the mutant-filled primitive slums of the surface of a ruined Earth. It's a fascinating idea, but I doubt that was the intention of Hanna-Barbera. The Flintstones became so beloved that they became the mascots for their own still active cereal lines of Cocoa Pebbles and Fruity Pebbles respectively. In the commercials for these series, Barney would always have some crazy scheme to try to get Fred's Pebbles. Now that I think about it, these commercials actually bothered me because of how out of character it was for Barney. Honestly, it probably should have been reversed with Fred scheming and trying to get the Pebbles away from Barney. Could still result in a chase scene with the same people chasing each other in the same order. There would be spin-offs and specials, including a fun Christmas special I already talked about, and a DVD movie released a few years back involving the WWE. I normally would tolerate this sort of thing, but the voice acting for Barney was too far off. It took me right out of the campy fun. Couldn't they get the guys from the commercials? Is there a reason why they couldn't? I'm getting way too angry here. I better get to my final thoughts before I mention the live-action movies. Too late.
What does the fox say?
What can you say about a classic like this? The Flintstones has surprisingly stood the test of time, and the characters themselves are recognized worldwide, even by people who have never seen the series. It has, without a doubt, earned its spot as the second greatest cartoon of all time, and if you don't trust TV Guide, it's at least amongst one of the best. To not recommend this series, or to at least check out, would be a crime. It is a very important part of animation history and quite enjoyable to boot. It's always nice to see Hanna-Barbera at their best. Next week, we're going to see what Jim Henson was up to in the 90s. See what happens when they try to bring the Muppet Show back and make it hip and cool. Next week, it's Muppets Tonight. But until then, my friends, stay tuned.